along so slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in Ottawa,
That's the North Coast Regional District. We asked to be invited to the meeting, but they didn't want someone like me, who's not a full-time resident.
Like everything, maybe one.
So I said a corporate officer who was born and raised there. That was acceptable. But they didn't want any outside.
Right.
We did.
Something in my throat.
I used to teach them. I enforce the rule.
Yeah, it's all a game.
But I would, to be continued, let's say that.
oh well.
One kid was misbehaving on baseball. Bent over like a baseball. Tears in his eyes. It's quite a language.
It is now.
Yeah.
I don't know, I got something stuck in my throat there. Thank you.
One minute warning. Okay, folks, we're ready to go. We have quorum now?
Yes.
Okay. We have quorum. Adoption of minutes.
So moved.
And I had.
Second?
And I had a new business.
You had a new business item? Go ahead.
Oh, no.
No? This is adoption of minutes. We already got that. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Business arising, public consideration, notice of motions, chair's reports, consent calendar. Director Wally.
Where are we, Mr. Chairman?
L, committee chair's report.
For the committee.
I would move that the minutes of the regular meeting of the Electoral Service Committee held on December 10, 2025 be received.
Second.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
I'd further move the minutes of special budget meeting of the Electoral Area Service Committee held on December 11, 2025 be received.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
Move that the minutes of special budget meeting of the Electoral Service Committee held on December 15, 2025 be received.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
And finally, I move that the draft minutes of the inaugural meeting of the Electoral Service Committee held on January 14, 2026 be received.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Senate, number 2.
Yes, I'll make a motion regarding the Strathcona Accessibility Inclusion Advisory Committee that the draft minutes of the regular meeting of the Strathcona Accessibility Inclusion Advisory Committee held on December 18th, 2025 be received.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Chapman, number 3.
Okay. Having challenges too.
It's on the screen if you.
Yeah, but you.
I will move that the draft minutes of the inaugural meeting of the Committee of the Whole held on January 21st, 2026 be received.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Rice.
Thank you, Chair. Item number 1, environmentally sensitive area development permit application and statutory right-of-way for DBS Resources Electoral Area D. I'd move that the report from the Chief Administration Officer be received.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
I'd like to move item B, that the chair and the corporate officer be authorized to execute the statutory right-of-way agreement for the registration of a public trail system as presented in the staff report dated January 19th, 2026.
Second. Discussion?
Just about.
All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
Move item C, that the environmentally sensitive area development permit DP 1D26, as presented in the staff report dated January 19th, 2026, be approved, and that the corporate officer be authorized to issue the permit.
Second. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Rice, number 2.
Frontage, request for frontage relief, 05750D24, McEwen, Electoral Area D. Move that the report from the Chief Administration Officer be received.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
Like to move item B, that the frontage relief be approved for the proposed subdivision of Lot 1, Block 29, Township 4, Comox, District Plan EPP 78707, reducing the required frontage from 10% to 4.95 for Lot A and 5.63 for Lot B, as shown on the plan of the subdivision attached to the January 14th, 2026 report from the Chief Administration Officer.
Second.
Director Wally, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Rice.
I'd like to move item 3 for receipt, that the report from the Chief Administration Officer be received.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
I'd like to move item B, that the environmentally sensitive area development permit DP 4D25, as presented in the staff report dated January 20th, 2026, be approved and that the corporate officer be authorized to issue the permit.
Director Wally, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Mawhinney.
Thank you, Chair. Easement to support subdivision on Quadra Island. Move that the report from the Chief Administrative Officer be received.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
And I will move that the Chair and Corporate Officer be authorized to execute an easement agreement to provide access for proposed Strata Lot 5 when registered in the Land Titles Office.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Mawhinney, number 5.
Thank you, Chair. Service contract for the Quadra Island Community Center. I'll move that the report from the Chief Administrative Officer be received.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Mawhinney, number 6.
Chair, I will move that the Chair and Corporate Officer be authorized to execute a contract with the Quadra Island Recreation Society for the operation of recreation services at the Quadra Island Community Center and maintenance of the Community Center building and grounds.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Number 6, Director Mawhinney.
Oh, thank you, Chair. Public land availability for housing on Quadra Island. Move that the report from the Chief Administrative Officer be received.
Second.
Director Colburn, discussion? Director Mawhinney?
I just wanted to say that I was really pleased with the speed which staff returned with this report, and it's really helpful, and I know that we don't have to talk about the fact that we are in a housing crisis, so I'm really excited to move forward on this.
On receipt? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
And I will move that further investigation be undertaken on the disposition and suitability of Lot 7 and 8, District Lot 216, Sayward Land District Plan V1P1109, located on Quadra Island for development of affordable and attainable housing.
Director Wally, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Rice.
Thank you, Chair. Item 7, donation advisory, regional district park amenities. I'd like to move that the report from the Chief Administration Officer be received.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Mawhinney, number 8.
Thank you, Chair. Grant opportunity Pidcock Creek watershed assessment. Move receipt of the report from the Chief Administrative Officer.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
I will move B, that an application to the 2026 Habitat Conservation Trust Foundation Capacity Grant Program be submitted to undertake the Pidcock Creek watershed assessment, and that the regional district commit to overall management of the grant if the application is successful.
Second.
Discussion? Director Mawhinney.
Thank you, Chair. I just really wanted to express my gratitude to Sean Koopman for keeping this file on his mind and continuing to seek grant funding for this important project. And it looks like he's going to say something about it, so I guess I don't need to say anything else.
Next report, he will.
Oh,
Maybe third time's a charm.
okay.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Wally, number 9.
Grant opportunity Indigenous cultural safety. I move the report from the CEO be received.
And Mr. Chair, Sean will speak to this.
Through the chair to the board, as we saw with this year's wildfire season, mutual aid between emergency personnel to enhance our capacity is very important, and the proposal for this grant is to host what we're calling a practicing cultural agility in community session, it would consist of a one-day boat tour for emergency management professionals around the cultural areas of Butte Inlet of the Hamalka First Nation, followed by a half-day tour in their community of all the ecosystem restoration projects that they have going on. And we budgeted for 24 emergency management professionals from throughout Vancouver Island to attend. Priority would be given to those currently residing and working in this regional district.
Thank you. Any more discussion on receipt? Director Sinnott?
Yeah, and it's for all the grant opportunities. I think we had a policy that I proposed last year that I just wanted to see within the grant report that we get, that how it ties back to our strategic objectives. I think there was one other thing, if there was any complications that we could see. I don't have any issues with these grants. I just would like to see it sort of highlighted in terms of like when we do it, to make sure we understand specifically how that's meeting our strategic objectives and whether there's unforeseen consequences if we go through with the grant, like in terms of workload.
So, Mr. Chair, that is in the report,
I was looking quickly, but it wasn't easy to find, so where do you have it?
fourth paragraph.
Okay. Okay.
Any more discussion? On receipt, all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
Mr. Chair, I'd move that a regional application be submitted to the 2026 Indigenous Cultural Safety Cultural Community Grant Program in order to support a practicing cultural sensitivity and community workshop, and that the regional district commit to providing overall management of the grant if application is successful.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Mawhinney, number 10.
Thank you, Chair. Grant opportunity, BC Hydro Community Re-greening Program. I will move that the report from the Chief Administrative Officer is received.
Second. Discussion.
Mr. Koopman can speak to this as well.
There we go. Just playing. Through the chair to the board, this report is to ask for your blessing to go after $10,000, $8,500 for vegetation, $1,500 for materials and supplies. The 15% is the maximum we can allocate to equipment and supplies under this grant to continue to support the wetland restoration project at the Quadra School. I've had engagement with Weewakai First Nation, the Quadra Island Salmon Enhancement Foundation, and Quadra Island Climate Action Network on this project. All have expressed support through email, and the idea is to tackle invasive species through a community in-kind work party over 2 to 3 days, and then plant the vegetation that we buy through this grant.
Amazing.
Any further discussion?
Thank you, Sean, for putting this together.
Director Chapman?
Thank you, Chair. I'm assuming the school district's in favor of this as well?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was leading up to this. Why isn't the school district doing this instead of us?
Through the chair, I have to check the grant application. I'm not too sure if the school district is an eligible entity to apply for this.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. B.
Sorry, I thought we were on number 11 already. I will move that the regional district submit an application to the 2026 BC Hydro Community Re-greening Program to support wetland restoration at the Quadra Island Elementary School.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Dahl, number 11.
Community Health and Wellness appointments for 2026, that the report from the Chief Administrative Officer be received.
Second.
Mr. Chair, so I believe when the chair made the appointments a couple months ago, staff may have given the chair an older copy of appointments. Certainly the discussion that we had represents the appointments that were made. However, the document that the chair was referencing was an old one. So just for clarity, we have a motion to reconfirm the folks that the director and the chair and that the chair intended on making appointments to the Community Health and Wellness.
On receipt, all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. B,
That the 2026 appointments to the Community Health and Wellness Committee be confirmed as Directors Rice, Kerr, and Dahl.
Second.
discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Von Esch, number 12.
Regional District Policy Review, Part 4. I move that the report from the CAO be received.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
I'll move that policies number 5, 13, 18, and 48, as attached to the November 14th, 2025 report from the CAO be revoked.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Sinnott, number 13.
Yes, thank you, Chair. It's regarding the online accessibility barrier feedback partner organization follow-up, that the report from the CEO be received.
Discussion?
If the board is interested, the staff can present on this. I think if I can at a high level, one of the issues of concern here is when the accessibility committee was mandated to be established by all local governments, they handed out money. There was an economy of scale that the regionals saw in having all these partner organizations participate on a single committee instead of having, a dozen or so of them. So we wrote to the communities that wanted to partner and have one committee, and that has worked well, I think, in terms of having collective discussions in terms of accessibility and reports and feedback. However, I think one of the challenges that's come out of the committee, and the chair can speak to this, is that there's an assumption that, like, the SRD is hosting this committee. We're not in charge or giving direction to communities that are participating on this. And it seems as though it is evolved into the expectation that the SRD committee is doing all this work. And again, maybe the chair can speak more about this, but the organizations need to take more accountability. And if they aren't, there's a fear of members are going to drop off this. And to the regional district, if that's the case at the end of the day, we still have our responsibility to maintain our accessibility committee and look at our issues, and that's what we'll continue doing if the other organizations don't support the committee and the initiatives that come out of it.
On receipt, all in favor?
I think Director Sinnott.
Yeah, I think,
Director Sinnott?
so I'm the chair of this committee. It's very difficult to get this committee together because it's a bunch of people in remote areas. A lot of them themselves have limitations in their abilities. So it could be everything from fatigue to neurodivergence to sensitivity to sound, light, various different challenges. We have a person who's visually impaired. So coordinating this group is challenging. They also very passionate about seeing some improvement in terms of what this act is intended to achieve. So the idea that they want to be actively involved, as you know, all community members who get involved in types of committees want to see some results. They want to see something practical. That's sort of their place. And the option was to look at what the feedback had been over the last 2 years. So we have a portal at the SRD, and then go through and sort of summarize what was going on and see where we could get feedback. But it seemed to be that SRD's pushing the information off to the organizations who participate, for example, the City of Campbell River, and then we don't know what's happening. So this is the request that's going to be coming up, is that there be a letter sent out to sort of see if the organizations will give us feedback, whether it's financial restraints, whether there's just, capacity issues, what's going on, so that we can, better advise and sort of look at what the accessibility issues are, because, and provide more education, because there's always going to be issues with respect to people not seeing certain disabilities. Certain disabilities are invisible, and so we could maybe do some education. We could do some other suggestions if the communities wish that. And again, because the encouragement of the people on the committee to be there, they want to see something. So this is where the request is that the board approve that communications go out. to the various member organizations to see what they have to say about the various requests for response.
Thank you. Director Mawhinney?
Thank you, Chair. I read this report with interest, and including the attached spreadsheet of all the feedback. And I guess what I was wondering and curious about is if the committee has made a recommendation, or if our board has a policy or a mechanism for reporting out of the feedback, and how would it be helpful if the committee made a recommendation to the organizations which are involved that there be a policy or a process to deal with the feedback? In particular, I'm asking because on that attached spreadsheet, there are a couple of items which apply specifically to the Strathcona Regional District. One of them is that elected officials have a lack of accessibility awareness, and it indicates that there's been an e-learning course created for us, but I actually checked the director's portal to see if we could take the course, and I couldn't find it. And the only mention I could find is that we were invited to a one-time showing of it. I think it was back in June. And then another item on that same spreadsheet talks about the meeting minutes for the Accessibility Advisory Committee needing to be more accessible. And the note on the spreadsheet says that the board, this board, I believe, needs to provide clear direction and a recommendation that they follow the path with explicit direction regarding scope and sourcing. But that, I don't think, has come to the board for us to discuss. So I am in support of the recommended motion here, asking partner organizations for reporting back, but I also think that we as a board maybe need to demonstrate some leadership in tackling these issues ourselves. And I'm just not clear if what's missing is like a mechanism for bringing these outstanding items to the board, and maybe the chair of the board or, strategic initiatives can speak to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Through the chair of the directors, if I may. So one component of the accessibility plan is to have both meetings with the committee and then with the partner organizations. So there would be potentially members of this board that would sit on the partner meetings. We've been caught in a little bit of a circle of inability to meet quorum at the committee, which then impacts our ability to have the follow-up meetings with the partner groups. And the attrition of the committee and the challenges that Director Sinnott noted in scheduling those meetings is one of the reasons why we're not achieving the frequency, which should be quarterly for both the committee meetings and the partner meetings. So we're hoping to get a little bit more momentum behind the committee and the partners to get back on schedule and get into a better rhythm. In regards to the specific comment about the agenda minutes needing to be more accessible, that is something that we're looking into. There is a significant funding component that would go into that to sort of change the entire platform. So it's something that we need to carefully look into and come back with funding options before we were to fully execute that. But it is on our radar, and we are looking for grants to support the recommendations within the spreadsheet that are SRD attainable. Thank you.
And if I could, for example, we were lucky enough to have a person from the regional library come and have a discussion with us, and that was very helpful because they were asking questions about like neurodivergent type of things that they could add to the library facilities, like headphones and various noise blockers for people who have sensitivity. And there was a good discussion about the various concerns that raise up for accessibility issues and people who had lived experience on the board. So the ability to reach out and explain those things would be a good process to somehow try and formalize, but it's very difficult when the board's not there to sort of monitor and tell people what to do. Their job is different than that. But as you can see, lay people like to see results, so it's a challenge.
And if I may just add to your point, regarding the trainings programs that have been developed, I have taken them. They are excellent, and I will speak with the communications manager about getting them on the director's portal so they are accessible to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. On receipt.
Sorry, Chair, just have one quick follow-up. That sounds like the strategic initiatives manager is indicating that there is another component of another board that we need to manage, or we need to appoint somebody to. Is that something that you're taking care of, Chair?
Sorry if I may. So it was more a commitment of the partner organizations to meet quarterly than it is not official committee of the board, so much in the same way that the accessibility committee is a formal committee. So the board has the opportunity to see the meeting minutes from the accessibility committee, and the reason why you're not seeing those is because we're unable to achieve that rhythm of conducting those meetings.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so on receipt, all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. B.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that the board requests that partner organizations provide a response for the committee outlining how they're responding to accessibility feedback and providing detailed timelines for the development of internal action plans, and that the board consider placing a deadline on the time frame to receive feedback. And I don't know if staff have a suggestion.
My intent was perhaps, as many of the partner organizations are represented here, for them to suggest what would be a reasonable timeframe for them to consult with staff and review the documents in this report, and within their capacity, identify a timeframe that is reasonable.
Did we get a second on that? We did? Okay, thank you.
And that was the reason that I did, was because I was wondering if that is something that we need to go back to our organizations with, or, if we're, how we wanted to deal with that here.
Okay, further discussion?
I mean, my suggestion was you don't want it so far it sits on someone's too far at the back of their desk, but you make the request be that we're making a preliminary suggestion or a deadline of this date, but we're willing to take feedback if it's beyond your capacity and reset the date and bring it back to our board. Maybe something like that, maybe 2 months.
Okay. All in favor? Wait, there's more?
So is that something that we want included within this resolution that we're putting forward now, that the date be set by, a 45-day span unless it's outside of your capacity, and then a 6-year? Are we doing that within this motion?
If I may, I think that would be very meaningful to the committee members, but of course at the discretion of the board.
So can I just make the friendly that we do it at the 45 days with wording to invite them back if they need an extension?
I would second that.
Okay, discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. Director Mawhinney, number 14.
Thank you, Chair. Port Neville Wharf divestiture. Move that the report from the Chief Administrative Officer be received.
So, Mr. Chair, this is just the wharf that the SRD is making improvements to do and then divesting it to the Cloitzes First Nation. Work is going fine. The terms of the agreement is that the date needs to be adjusted slightly to meet the construction schedule, and that's the recommendation before you.
Okay, on receipt, all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried.
I will move that an amendment to bylaw number 559 be prepared that would extend the deadline for assignment of the Port Neville Wharf facility to the Cloitzes First Nation to September 30th, 2026.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. We'll get Director Kerr, number 15.
Thank you, Chair. And I move that invoices over staff signing authority, that the report from the Chief Administrative Officer be received.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
And B, that invoice number 503650 in the amount of $270,267 from the Cascadia Support Systems for ongoing works for the supply and installation of Area 2 and Leisure Ice Dasher Board and Ice Skate at Strathcona Gardens Recreation Facility be approved for payment.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
And that invoice number 893 in the amount of $249,954.02 from Broad Street Properties Limited for ongoing land development servicing and construction for the Just Like Home project be approved for payment.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none? Carried. Director Dahl, number 16.
Regional grants and aid that the report from the Chief Administrative Officer be received.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
That a policy regarding the awarding of regional grants and aid, including grants via service bylaw, be prepared for the board's consideration.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. Director Lott, number 17.
Thank you, Chair. Number 17, Housing Symposium, Strathcona Housing Alliance, move that the report from the Chief Administrative Officer received.
Second.
Discussion?
Just, Mr. Chair, wanted to bring this to the board's attention that the Strathcona Housing Alliance is putting on a symposium and invited all the directors to attend if they will, and therefore we just wanted to get a list of folks while we were all gathered to let us know if they were interested in attendance.
Okay. Anybody? Director Morwini?
Thank you, Chair. I already registered.
I just had a question. If I did want to attend this, obviously it's going to start before I can get over on the ferry. Would hotel costs be covered for me to be able to do that if I chose to?
Yes, they typically are, yeah.
Thank you.
I've got a question. Thank you, Chair. When I read the outline on this, I was a little bit confused where they're inviting regional directors, and yet it seemed that the content of the meeting was geared more to the city of Campbell River. So I'm wondering what interest is it to the rural directors?
I'm not 100% certain as it came from the Housing Alliance, just inviting the directors. So I just thought it was simpler to put a report on there in case it got buried in correspondence. But beyond what's here, I'm really not certain myself. So.
Okay. Director Morwini?
To respond to that inquiry, I have spoken to, there's two nonprofit organizations on Quadra Island that are involved in housing, the Discovery Islands Affordable Housing Society and the Quadra Island Seniors Housing Society. And they are both planning on attending and have registered multiple representatives because they felt that there was interest for them in what was being presented. So I felt that if they were thinking that I wanted to be able to listen in as well.
Okay. I would like to attend as well.
Director Vonish, Director Baker, Director Morwini. Oh, you're still deciding. Okay, speed up your decision making.
It was 3.
I'll let Edith know by the date.
Okay. All right.
I think most of the directors that are counselors for the city of Campbell River are all already registered.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And just a thank you to staff for putting this on here because I do understanding, what housing needs in the area, what happens in Campbell River affects us all. So thanks.
Okay, so on receipt, all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. B, Director Lott.
I'd like to move B, that the organizers of the 2026 Campbell River Housing Symposium be advised that the regional district accept the invitation to attend the event and that interested directors contact Edith Watson prior to noon on January 31st, 2026 for assistance with registration for the 2026 Campbell River Housing Symposium.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Rice, number 18.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move item 18, that the parcel tax review panel appointments for 2026. I'd like to move that the report from the Chief Administration Officer be received.
Director Wally, second. Oh, you want to speak?
I had a comment, Mr. Chair.
You have a comment?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I would like to make a subsequent motion on this one, please.
Very well. On receipt, all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I believe it's important that the directors that have parcel taxes be on the committee, so I would move the appoint Director Rice, Mawini, and Lott.
And Lot?
And Director Lott, yes. Needs 3.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
Item C, that if required, the first sitting of the parcel tax roll review panel be scheduled for 8:45 on Wednesday, February 11th, 2026, at the Regional District Corporate Office.
Second.
Discussion? Director Mawini?
When would we know if it was going to be sitting? We would know on the Friday before, just like a regular agenda?
Mr. Chairman, we will know if there is a need to hold the review panel meeting once the deadline for challenges has passed, and that would be the Friday prior to the scheduled meeting.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Dahl, number 19.
Draft 2026-2030 financial plan, the report from the Chief Administrative Officer be received.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. Chair, Mike has a short presentation for us. Directors will see attached to us. There's quite an extensive document that Mike and his team has prepared, but as for the presentation, we've included the important things, a summary of the changes to the individual areas tax requisition. I can say, in the last 10 years, this is what I would consider a very amazing budget for all the areas in the plan, and what we've tried to do is just highlight in the presentation some of the things that are usually of interest to the committee as they'll affect this area uniquely as opposed to municipalities in terms of assessment shifts and so on and so forth, and how it affects the different areas. So Mike has a short presentation on that.
Yeah, thank you. I realize it's a long agenda, so I'll try and be quick, but just a quick reminder of where we are. So we first looked at the 2025 surplus to see how 2026 was shaping up. We reviewed the 2026 preliminary base budget already and got feedback. We had the single participant meetings with the EA directors, which focused on all their local services within each A, and we heard some presentations from different organizations. So all that content is publicly available for anyone to look at. It's in our minute meetings, and the recordings on YouTube. So for January, we've essentially taken that last document. We've done a couple minor updates to it, not too much, just with the estimates, given that we have the full year data. But the big change was the incorporation of all the 2026 assessment data, which has not been seen yet. So the first part of this presentation will focus on that. And then just a reminder that all the tax information you're going to see is still an estimate. There's still another big revision of data coming through from BC Assessment, but it tends not to change very much. Oh, there we go. So the goal of this meeting is, again, just have a review of the assessment and the assessment shift and discuss that a bit. We'll also review the 2026 overall tax requisition estimates and answer any questions. And then we're looking to get direction from the board on the next step required to produce a financial plan bylaw. We do have to pass the budget by March 31st. So just a brief recap for those watching. What are assessments? They're essentially the total estimated value of all the real estate in a particular region. BC Assessment classifies, they do the estimate and they classify all the real estate into 9 distinct groups that you're probably well familiar with, residential, business, and industry. For our purposes, what's important is the assessments are used to distribute the taxes. And we commonly talk about the myths in local government, and this is probably one of the biggest ones that your assessment value drives your overall taxes, which we'll get into a bit, but overall they distribute it. So this is a new slide for this year, but we took the diagrams out of from BC Assessment, kind of explaining this. So the important thing is, all else equal, it's how your property relates to the average rise in the overall group. So in that first picture there, if your property value increases 20%, but the overall market increases 30%, all else equal, your taxes will likely decrease. And in the second picture there, they're just showing that if you have the same average increase of 30%, but your property value goes up 40%, then your taxes will likely increase. So, like I say, a lot of people relate this to income tax or provincial sales tax. When you have the underlying value of the goods or the amount of income, it generates more money for the government. But for us, that's not the case. So again, the assessments just distribute it. So next is just a quick look at the change of home values. Again, throughout our presentation, we do a lot of valuation, just average values per home. So here they are. As you can see, this is very muted relative to the past couple of years. Area D, perhaps a bit of an outlier, and then we have some declines going in Area A and Area B. One thing I will say is, any organization you look at, they'll probably give you a different average value. So I just take the mathematical average, but a lot of the realtors in town will look at, just single family detached homes and give you the average value here. And they don't include strata, condos, and trailer parks and such. So you'll see some different numbers, but generally they're all fairly close. And just for the board's information, if you want to look at the overall distribution of property values in your area, I have charts in the financial plan, page 53 for the munis and 114 for the electoral areas, if you want to see how many properties fall above or below the average.
I think, just to pause you a second, what's curious about that last slide is Area D is, going up significantly, just for example, because it's adjacent to Campbell River and Campbell River's on. There has been quite an expansion in multifamily dwellings in Campbell River. So Campbell River's had a lot of dwellings, which wouldn't have the value. So it seems like their assessments have not gone up. Again, this is an overall average in the city. So let's just say, for argument's sake, an average house is $750,000 and an apartment or condo was $500,000. So I think that's just diluted the increase to the average in Campbell River, where in Area D, for example, it's predominantly single-family dwellings.
So the financial plan document speaks a lot to assessment shift. This slide is just to illustrate that there's two factors for the assessment shift. Is first, the relative change between the different regions if they're sharing in a service. And then the second is the relative value of the housing compared to all the other assessment classes. So as those two move around, it'll reallocate taxes from different areas to different classes. The important thing to note is, again, it doesn't increase the overall amount of taxes collected by the regional district. It just shifts them around. So this is the first component of it, is the assessment shift on a regional basis. So if we take all 10 members, the average this year was 2.4% increase. So if you're on or around that average, it has little impact on your taxes. And of course, if you're below the regional average, like say we're in Area A and such, you'll have taxes shift out of your area. And if you're above the regional averages, taxes shift into your area. So that's a relatively simple concept, that one. This one is the residential portion of the shift. So again, a little instruction there. We're not looking to compare the regions, but if you compare the green lines to the blue bars is your overall tax base from the last slide, and the green bar is just the residential component and how it moves. So I think areas C and D are a pretty good example here. So both of those areas were above the 2.4% averages. So regionally, you have taxes shifting into that area, into those areas. But area C, for example, the residential tax base didn't increase as fast, so you actually see taxes shifting away from residences into business and managed forest lands and all that. So when you look at the main charts in your diagram, you'll see a lot of Area C actually has downward pressure from the assessment shift, whereas Area D, it's an upward pressure.
So if you look at this just using Campbell River as an example, so the average was, the overall average for Campbell River, or the area was 2.4%. And so 2.4% was conveniently right on the line. So as an average, you don't see much change. However, the residential increase was 1.5, so which is below that average. So you'll see the taxes go away from residential, let's say in Campbell River, and more push towards commercial industrial. So when we look at this as a whole, I speak from a high level, is that the tax shift is away from residential in Campbell River. They're right on the line as far as, let's say, having a muted impact across the line, because their average assessment increase was right at the 2.4, but the residential is 1.5, therefore there's pushing some of those taxes towards more industry and commercial, and residential would typically see in Campbell River, you would see a slight decline.
This next slide is in the budget document. For every member, I have a 5-year summary of all your assessment base with the top 3 major classes. So this year I'm just highlighting Area C just for an example of how to read it. But as you can see in 2025, 83.8% of all their taxes were absorbed by the residential class. This year that's dropped slightly to 1.71% or 1.71% decline down to 82. So again, that's where you're going to notice that the tax is shifting out of residential. And this year it's primarily going over to the business class, which has gone up a bit. And then the chart underneath just shows the number of folios. So there's actually down 2 folios of residential here, which could just be reclassification from business to residential or farmland to residential or something, or 2 properties amalgamating into one. I'm not exactly sure, but like I say, that 1.7% decline actually has quite a big, a fairly sizable impact on the taxes.
So this, just for you, though I saw a few people taking pictures, this is in the budget document, and it's an interesting that I think we just put one up here so we wouldn't go through everywhere, but I think it's of interest for everyone to look at. So again, what this says is Area C, and Campbell River would reflect exactly what I said there. You'll see that the shift here is away from a residential. So this shows 1.7 in Area C, and we saw that the residential was only 1.5 of the 2.4. So if you looked at the graph for Campbell River, you'll see the shift down from residential, so there's a less burden on that. But then where that spillover is pushed onto would be business and commercial and managed forest land. So it's an interesting slide to look at where the shift is coming from. All things are not equal. You can't just go, GC assessments are 2.4. It's in how it's shifted amongst that. And again, for Campbell River, it's shifting below the 2.4.
So that's mostly information on the assessments. Again, there's a lot more content in the document, so feel free to have a look through that in the summary pages of each area. This slide just focuses on the overall operating budget change. Again, the ministry likes to quote these numbers and use them for the regional districts because we're so different. But so this year, as you can see, we have a slight decline in the overall operating budget change. The important part to put, or first I should mention that the blue bars on either side, we're only showing the top portion of them. The actual changes aren't this aren't this big, so we've just kind of zoomed into the top of the chart here. But the local governments, our operating budgets contain stuff like debt payments and reserve transfers and everything else. So they're not the traditional operating expenses as you would see in the in the private sector. But again, overall, this one is dropping a bit. So I guess the biggest change here would be protective services, I would note. Mostly, I guess this is the Koopman effect, where he just had a whole bunch of large grants in the prior year, and he's since spent some of that money, and so he has a smaller carry forward amount. And then but we tend to have wild swings in that category.
If I can too, like one of the reasons we try and show slides is because some of this information can be cherry picked by, let's say, the news media or something, and say, "Oh, look, this is fantastic. The regional district has a 500,000, 1.2% drop in the operating budget." I mean, I suppose we could brag about that, but the reality is the reason we're having that drop is we've received less money in grants. So it's super artificial, and what we try and represent is here's what people are really seeing on there, because there's 14 things within the budget that the newspaper or somebody could pick up on, good, bad, or indifferent, but they're really not representative of what's going on. Yes, technically speaking, you could say we had a 1.2% decline in the operating budget. Again, we just received less grants. So.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, is it really makes regional districts hard to compare. For the same point, any local government makes this kind of hard to compare. So last slide is this table is in the staff report, but it's just the overall summary. I knew it was a long agenda, so I put more detail and explanation into the staff report, kind of giving a high level overview for each municipal member what the big changes are. So again, you'll see all the stuff in the financial plan and a gratuitous amount of tables and charts that break out all the details. So everyone has a dedicated section they can flip through. My last slide is the province also publishes total taxes and fees for all the municipalities. So this chart just represents the overall tax change and the impact it's going to have for the average taxpayer. So as you can see, this year is going to be very little for all the various areas. So yeah, the entirety of the change of this financial plan is included in those the blue slivers there you see at the top of the chart. So,
and again, we've received feedback from communities for many years about, like, at the end of the day, when people open their tax slip on July 1st and say they look at the bottom line. And so again, this is for municipalities because they're a little bit more linear in terms of how we can represent this data. But if you're someone in Campbell River owning the average valued home, you're seeing a tax invoice about $5,800. And how we like to represent that is the impact of what the regional district is putting on that is 0.01%. So as you can see, that's quite a very small number. But when they'll look at that and they'll see that overall number, and the other munis are rounded to zero. So very tiny impact to the overall municipal tax bill.
That's a high-level look at the overall impacts of the 2026 to 2030 financial plan. Happy to answer any questions, but again, just the first slide we mentioned, our goal here is just to get any further direction to develop the actual bylaw and bring that to the next meeting.
Directors, any questions for Mike? No? On receipt? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Dahl, B.
That the 2026-2030 financial plan bylaw be prepared for consideration at the February 25th, 2026 meeting of the board.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. Director Von Esch, number 20.
Thank you, Chair. Request for financial assistance, electoral area B, Cortez Island. I'll move that the report from the CAO be received.
Discussion?
I just wanted to say a few things if I could, Chair.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Just a little bit of background. It's 180 pages of reading, so I assume lots for folks to go through. But just wanted to give you a sense of what happened this year, similar to previous years. We received a lot more applications than we had funding for. I had roughly $25,000 to spend, and we had over $50,000 in applications. I worked with the Cortez Island Community Foundation to put together a community jury of members who were not on the nonprofit boards or staff or connected to those nonprofits in a way that would have a conflict of interest. And they went through a series of meetings and went through the applications. And I'm delighted to say that the Cortez Island Community Foundation this year privately raised an extra $25,000 for these applications. So almost all of the funding requests will be met, assuming these are passed by the board today, both by the SRD through our grant and aid program and then through the Cortez Island Community Foundation, the remaining $25,000. I'm happy to take any questions, but appreciate it. Thank you.
On receipt, all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried.
I'll move that the board approve grants in aid to be paid from the electoral area B grant and aid budget as follows. $5,000 to the Friends of Cortez Island to assist with a new website, $4,100 to the Cortez Islands Women Resource Society to assist with winter operations and community support, $4,000 to the Evagrics Wave and Range Club to assist with volunteer support and appreciation, $5,000 to the Cortez Community Radio Society to assist with Love Fest and the Village Common Music Series, $5,000 to the Island Death Care Society to assist with facilitating end-of-life planning and community resilience, and $1,900 to the Support Our Senior Society to assist with heat pump incentive support.
Second.
Discussion? Director Chapman?
A quick question, Chair, to the finance people. So we're depending now, the budget's not been passed yet, but we're depending on the provisional budget or last year's budget as a provision, and this is all covered in that provisional budget?
Yeah, both the provisional budget and the draft budget that you see today, it should all be covered.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Director Rice, number 21.
Thank you, Chair. Request for financial assistance, Campbell River Citizens on Patrol. I would like to move that the report from the Chief Administration Officer be received.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried.
I'd like to move item B, that the grant and aid for the Campbell River Citizens on Patrol in the amount of $2,000 to assist with the 2026 operational costs be paid from Electoral Area D grant and aid budget.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. Director Wally, bylaw number 1.
Bylaw number 616, Duncan Bay Fire Protection Amendment. Move that report from CEO be received.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried.
Further move that bylaw number 616, being Duncan Bay Area Fire Protection Service establishing bylaw 2022, amendment number 1, be reconsidered, finally passed and adopted.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. Director Rice, number 2.
Bylaw number 625, the Oyster Riverbank Protection Service. I'd like to move that the report from the Chief Administration Officer be received.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried.
I'd like to move item B, that the total number of electors within the area affected by bylaw number 625 be fairly determined to be 704 for the purpose of the alternate approval process.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
I'd like to move item C, that the deadline for submissions of electoral responses in respects of the alternate approval process for bylaw number 625 be established as 12 noon on Monday, March 16th, 2026.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
I'd like to move item D, that the electoral response from the attached to January 9th, 2026 report from the Chief Administration Officer be approved for use with the alternate approval process for bylaw number 625.
Second.
Discussion? Director Wally?
Yeah, I'd just like to ask staff, where do you put the forms for Area D for people to pick up, or do they get them online? How does that work?
They get them online.
Okay.
All in favor? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Typically, they would get them online. Now, unless it's a citizens coalition to stop the tax or whatever, then they would distribute them, but
Okay, and they drop them off at the office here? Is that how it has to be?
yes.
Okay.
All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. Director Rice, number 3. Number 3, Director Rice.
Sorry.
Okay.
Bylaw number 629, Electoral Area D Transit Service. I'd like to move that the report from the Chief Administration Officer be received.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried.
I'd like to move item B, that the bylaw number 629 being a bylaw to regulate the use of the Electoral Area D Public Transit Service for special events be now introduced and read a first time.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried.
I'd like to move item C, that the rules be suspended and bylaw number 629 be given second and third readings.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried.
I'd like to move item B, that the bylaw number 629 being the Electoral Area D Transit Service Regulation Bylaw 2026 be reconsidered, finally passed, and adopted.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. Director Wally, number 4.
Bylaw number 630, Saybrook Fire Protection Wildlife Response. Move that report from the CAO be received.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried.
Further move that bylaw number 630, being a bylaw to amend the regulations governing the activities of the Saybrook Volunteer Fire Department, be now introduced and read a first time.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
Move that the rules be suspended and bylaw number 630 be given second and third readings.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
And finally, I move that bylaw number 630, being Saybrook Volunteer Fire Department establishing bylaw 2024 amendment number 2, be reconsidered, finally passed, and adopted.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Correspondence? There's only 2? No? Oh, wait a minute. 3, 4, 5, 9, 12.
I'm going to move receipt of 1 through 12, and then people can poll as they like.
Agreed. Discussion?
I thought we should maybe pull number 10 and 11.
Anybody else?
I'd like to pull number 4.
Okay,
So that would be receipt of the remainder.
thank you.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. We'll start with number 4, Director Rice.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to point out that this is the,
Pardon me? Hasn't been received. Let's receive 4, 10, and 11.
Can I just make a comment on it?
Sure?
Oh, no, never mind. Go ahead.
Okay, let's,
Move to receive 4.
4, 10, and 11?
Should we take one at a time?
Do we have to?
we can do them all at once.
4, 10, and 11 then.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried.
Thank you, Chair. So item 4, I just wanted to quickly mention that this is the budget for the North Island 911 service. This year, it's a 5% increase. And for the next, I believe until 2029, we'll be looking at 4% increases. One of the things that I do just want to clarify for everybody is that there's a fair amount of work that is happening with the 911 service. A lot of that is to bring in the new E911. All of that is covered by grants. The reason that we're seeing the increases is that the call center has become quite busy. There was a new contract on wages, so that had to be factored in. And they've actually had to increase the number of staff for the call center, which is good news for the North Island. The other thing that is quite important to understand for directors is that there is a considerable amount of investment being done in the network itself. So when I talk about the network, it's the 911 network. And they're working very hard to build in redundancies, which is quite important. Why is that so important even now? Is that we take a look to what happened earlier, I believe it was last year, where 911 went down for how many hours. That affected a very large portion of the island, and it was because there is no redundancy and backup. So that is attributing to some of the cost. The other thing that is also interesting with this is that when most of this is done through towers and radio receivers, these towers are quite expensive to decommission when they have to be decommissioned and moved. So again, those are all things. And I think at this point in time, we're finding that the 911 Corporation, being fairly new, is really starting to find their feet. And I think the financial reporting on it has been quite good. Thank you.
Thank you.
For those that are curious, the budget that 911 has posted is in the SRD budget. So all these numbers you see have been incorporated in the SRD budget.
Motion to receive number 4. No, we already did that. We did them all. Okay. I don't know. I don't have any gum. 10. Number 10.
Thank you, Chair. But if I may speak to this one, or we don't have to move or seat, which is something we usually do.
We already moved it.
Keeping it fresh. Well, I felt like maybe I would move to refer this request to our next committee of the whole, and that staff would bring information regarding the in-film funding model and the organization's support from other local governments as it comes.
Yes, we can do that. Off the top of my head, I can't think of when the next COW meeting is. It might be
April.
April, yeah.
Okay, I thought there was a mention of it in March, and my understanding is that we were working on a regional grant and aid policy, and I felt like this might fall within that, and that we might want to discuss it at the committee of the whole if we were discussing that regional grant and aid policy. If we're not going to be discussing it at a committee of the whole, then maybe that's irrelevant.
We likely will, but this, so again, getting back to the regional grants and aid and what we have line of sight on here, Island North Film, this in-film, and the request is in the budget that you've seen a few minutes ago. So I think there's search and rescue, there's in-film, and these amounts that are being requested are supported in the current regional grant budget. So if there's a request in here and the committee wants to move that, make a motion on that to support that funding, then you can do that now.
Okay, I guess my interest was in having a little bit more information about the organization's support across the spectrum of the local governments that it represents.
I would, from my perspective, I would probably bring this request in a report to the board. We we don't have a linear process or haven't in the past in terms of bringing grant requests forward. They often fall within correspondence. The director picks them out and we make a motion and we support them. That's how we've done it in the past. I'm happy to pull this one out, put a staff report with a recommendation to either provide funding or not provide funding. You can do it now. Whatever you choose is fine with me. Just knowing that the consideration of this grant request is within the current budget.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. And I would be interested in staff providing a little bit more context around it.
Is that a motion?
If that
Well,
is what I need to do, but I think we can
I
make
can
a
take it
motion
as
right now.
direction stuff because we don't really have, again, a process. Typically, what we have done in the past, if the group supports that this request, meets historically what we've offered a regional grant, you can make a motion right now. So if not, I'm happy to pull it out, give a little bit more background with the recommendation.
Director Senate.
Yeah, I'm thinking that maybe we could invite InFilm and any other regional grant person to come at the next meeting to do a short delegation. Maybe something like that would give you the information you're seeking.
I think it would be interesting to hear more from the organization, and I'm also interested in, personally, I think that the $50,000 request is a significant amount, and I'm curious how that sort of balances out with other organizations or local governments, other regional districts that are also supporting this organization. So if maybe they could include that information in their presentation, or if staff can provide context as well. I'm not sure if staff need a motion for that, or we just invite them, or you want to make a motion to invite them, Director Senate? Not sure how that works.
I don't know if they're available. I don't know if I'm available for the next meeting, given I'm taking off on a holiday. So I hate to be the inviting person and not be there.
Director Rice.
Thank you, Chair. When I read the report, I'm reading the report that Nanaimo, Alberni, Comox Valley, Mount Washington are all contributing to InFilm. So I don't see why we need, it seems to me to be very clear that this is the model that's being used with other jurisdictions. What are we going to do that reinvents that?
Director Kerr, and then Director Von Esch.
Thank you. Yeah, when you see the economic, and it's not included, but if you do see the economic benefit of this organization, this is a very, very small investment into the region. We traditionally, when they started up years back, Campbell River was their main financer, and over the years they've had other regional districts buy in to the point where a lot of Vancouver Island is covered. That really acknowledges just how beneficial it is. The numbers are in the millions. Benefit to the communities.
Agreed. Director Von Esch.
Thank you, Chair. Do we have a regional grants and aid application form? We don't, there's no form.
We've ad hoc'd it for forever, to be honest with you. So, and this is how we have historically dealt with grant requests as they've come forward. So they've been in correspondence and they've been picked out, and somebody's made a motion and or not. So we can do anything. Again, if the board feels this is good value, somebody can make a request to support a grant right now. That's traditionally what's happened, or I can bring forward further information whenever the board likes.
Thank you. I do. I do think it's useful to get an organization's financials and just to understand, similar to when I'm looking at grant and aid applications from Cortez, I want to make sure that, the organization is, I want to see where they're getting their other funding from and what their situation is. Not to say that this isn't a good investment for us, but I think, as we look at our grant and aid policy, I'd love to see an application form that similar to our regional or to our electoral area grant and aids where the organization that's applying provides us with background information that helps us understand their situation and make good decisions.
Director Mawhinney, and then
Sharon,
Director Sinnott.
I appreciate that request of Director Vanesh. And I think part of the reason that I'm asking for this information or curious about this information is that I noticed a headline a week or two ago that the Regional District of Nanaimo has chosen not to support InFilm at this time, and they are not including it in their budget. And when I tried to dig in, and I couldn't find the most recent information, but maybe it was from a couple years ago, it looked like Matt Waddington was maybe giving them $3,000, which felt like quite a stretch to $50,000. So I think myself, I would feel a lot more comfortable if there was a little bit more information about the organization's support from other local governments and their need before I'm willing to move forward with this request.
I agree with Director Kerr. I think this is a great organization. I know they're coming to Sayward to do a film in the next few weeks, which I greatly appreciate. So I think supporting $50,000 is really not a big deal. Director Sinnott, then Director Kerr.
Well, Campbell River was going to fund 70% of it in any event. So, and I'm sure that it wouldn't be a problem for them to package up some sort of thing because they've been doing it for years to the city of Campbell River. I'm just not sure what the current format is. So, I'm inclined to just make the motion right now that we fund it because the city of Campbell River, okay, thank you. And on the basis that the city of Campbell River is confident with this organization, long-term funding is a legacy thing. It just didn't meet the requirement because it is regional in scope, and it just was like the proper funding mechanism is at the regional district, like the other ones. And we did address the question about Nanaimo, and that was a one-off because I think Director Wally had mentioned it, and I got the information at that last committee of the whole meeting from Ms. Miller that Nanaimo approved their funding for 2026 at the council meeting, and they're doing $30,000, and it's going to Parksville and Qualicum for the balance. So I assume it's a $50,000, but she didn't say specifically. That's not the Nanaimo Regional District, it's City of Nanaimo. Yeah. And then they're going back to the regional district to figure it out for the economic envelope for 2027. So anyway, that's sort of what happened. And then she went on to tell me all the different things that are happening, and there's all these casting calls. So if people know, particularly young people, they should be looking on the lookout because there's a lot of production here that they're looking for local people in.
Did you want to shorten that motion?
No, the motion was already seconded. It was like, we're just going to fund it. And I was explaining why.
Oh, okay.
I was speaking to the motion. Thank you. Sorry, Chair.
Okay, good to go. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Number 11. That's you.
Thank you, Chair. This is a request from Greenways Land Trust, actually, that we consider a marine debris removal fund. And I thought it was an interesting request. I am concerned that we may be stepping into an area of provincial responsibility if we move into this area. And I know that there are many robust volunteer shoreline cleanup groups and crews that do incredible work. And I'm wondering if I think we need to ask ourselves if we want to step in and fund the type of work. And I have a motion, which was, I was hoping to ask staff to provide some more information about it, because I don't think that it's appropriate to move forward with their request without asking for further information. So I'm not sure if I'm allowed to, it's confusing to me because we moved receipt of all three, and should I just throw out the motion and see? Okay. Move that we receive a report on the potential benefits and challenges, intersections with CSWM and provincial responsibility, and steps required to establish a marine debris response contingency fund.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Director Chapman.
Chair, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, marine debris is a federal responsibility, not a provincial one. So I think we should have some funding from the feds and not just from local taxpayers. Thank you.
Director Colburn.
And that's my kind of, I'm wondering if this is just information from the organization from Greenways, or is this organization like a way of collecting grants and funneling that through, or what does that look like? What kind of information are we asking for?
Well, I would say that, well, it looks like Mr. Koopman could probably speak to it. He keeps giving me a couple of hand signals there, but I would also say that if you read the detailed letter that they provided us, it talks about the challenges of things which are on shorelines, which are sort of maybe, like they dealt with a lot of giant tires of unknown origin in the last, two different tire piles, or I'm not sure how you would describe those. And when it's on a shoreline, is it provincial? Is it federal? There's a federal hydrocarbon spill response, but maybe they don't consider giant litter to be an emergency the same way that other people might. So I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Koopman.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the director hit the nail on the head with that one, in that particular for this event, it was the size and type of debris. It wasn't just as simple as volunteers plucking the shoreline, shoving it into garbage bags. The local businesses and volunteers and nonprofits involved with this response, deserve a lot of praise for the fundraising and in-kind contributions they had to do. Like, this was taken up and funded and removed at our local level because neither the province or the federal government would touch it. They both denied that it was their responsibility. I tried to get emergency funding from the province because I viewed it as an emergency if the tires went back into the ocean, or the potential long-term environmental contamination of the styrofoam breaking up. The province also denied that. So the reason that Greenways is sending this request is because if this happened again tomorrow, it would be on the community again to remove it, because the senior levels of government are absolving themselves of their responsibility. And there is another option in the report. I think there's something been tabled in Ottawa starting to address this and asking us to express our favor of that.
Anyone else? No? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, not to belabor the meeting at all, but having said that, I will. The next piece of correspondence was, if anybody read it, I thought it was significant in the Heritage Conservation Act, based on the pushback they got from all the folks at UBC and the online surveys, and that the province has decided to delay that legislation, which I think is a really good thing. At least the province listened to everyone, because there was some major concerns that local government had with that. So correspondence identifies that the province has delayed support for that legislation.
Thank you. Management report, none. New business. Director Wally.
Are we accepting the members' report, the January
Members' report?
20th report from Director Wally regarding the Government of Canada Port Divestiture Program?
Sorry, missed it.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Port Divestiture Program, I would move that the 2026 report from me regarding the Government of Canada Port Divestiture.
Second.
Must be received. So if you've read that report, I have a motion that, do we need to move receipt or vote on receipt? And then I have a subsequent motion. Let's do that.
Okay, on receipt, all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried.
So my motion is that the SRD rate to AVICC in support of the proposed motion in this report. And in this report, there's a motion that has been sent to AVICC. They're asking for our support on it concerning the Government of Canada's Port Divestiture Program. What this is about is, as you know, the federal government is divesting all their ports. They're trying to pawn them off to local jurisdictions. There's one in Port Neville that no one has accepted. Area A certainly doesn't want it. These things are an albatross. You take these things for a few dollars, and then after 10 years, you're in millions of dollars in debt. We don't need it. We don't want it. The federal government should continue to support the ports that they've created in the first place, or if they're going to remove them, they got to pay for the removal of them, and that's what the letter of support would be.
Okay. Any further discussion? Director Morweni?
Thank you, Chair. I also have divested and undivested warps in Area C, and really don't want any more divested, so I'm totally in support of this. I was just questioning, would it be best for us to write a letter of support for the motion, or for us to make the same motion so that it comes from multiple organizations? I wasn't sure if anyone had any thoughts on that.
Anyone? No?
I'll just say, Mr. Chair, the report asks for either or, so I picked the or.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. And we have a second, which was Director Colburn. Discussion is complete. Keep everybody awake. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. New business.
So the new business is concerning the regional district office building, and most importantly, the parking element of it. That seems to be a little bit inadequate. I mean, directors probably only a couple times a month, but for staff and our customers, it's a daily thing. So my motion is I move that staff bring back a report on options to either relocate our SRD offices to a new location or find adequate parking.
To report back second.
Discussion. Director Chapman.
Mark, I don't know if you know, what is the outstanding debt we owe for this building?
That would take me a second, but it's not very much. The total amount was about 2 million back in the day. I think it's about 1.6 or something.
Maybe a little less than 1.2. We bought it for 2, and that was 7 or 8 years ago, so probably like 1.3, 1.4.
Okay.
Anybody else? So on the motion, all in favor? Oh, Director Dahl.
I was just going to say, I think it's a little premature. There's a building next door, 60 units being built. Most of the parking spots around here are filled up by plumbing and electrical contractors that are working next door. So probably in another 8 weeks, or by the time the report's done, there will be a lot of parking freed up that has been full for quite a while.
Director Wally?
I have a question that, through the chair, that I think Director Dahl could probably answer. The parking that this construction company using, aren't they parking along the roadways here, and is there not a 2-hour limit on that?
I don't think on the roadway there's 2-hour limit yet. I think you're fine, but they're on the roadway. But there's also a staging area behind the development that they're temporarily using, so that will be freed up, as Director Dahl says, in 6 to 8 weeks. But certainly can provide some options.
Yeah, I didn't think the report would do any damage, just in case.
Doesn't do any damage, but having a goal of SRD meetings lasting less than 2 hours would be a good idea too.
Director Von Esch.
I'm inclined to agree with Director Dahl here. Let's just give this construction site a bit of space before we start seeing if it's actually a real problem in the future.
Okay, motion's on the floor. Oh, all in favor? Did somebody else have a question?
I did. And I was curious, I didn't know how many units were being built, so 60. I guess what sort of germane to this discussion would be if that new development has parking for 60 units or if it doesn't. Because if it doesn't, then there will probably likely always be a lot of pressure on the roadsides.
Okay, Director Davis.
I haven't even hit it yet. Yeah, well, our parking lot used to be mostly full, and now it's mostly full of a building. So I see this as a problem that's unresolvable because there will be people moving into that building. So I don't think we have any options here at the moment. I'm parked over there. I'm over 2 hours, so there you go.
Director Dahl.
I'll just point out that you don't have a parking lot. the city owned that lot along with 4 other lots. And we sold that lot for the building that's going up, but there's 3 vacant lots that have been used as a staging area that will be empty when the building construction is done and the staging moves away from here. If the SRD would like to purchase a lot, we may be interested in negotiating that.
There you go, it's in the motion.
First Director Davis. You're good? Okay, Director Waller?
Yeah, well, in response to my motion to have a report, that could be one of the options.
There you go. Okay, so on the motion, all in favor? Opposed?
Just there's only 3 opposed.
Opposed?
Correct, yeah.
Thank you. Director Lott?
Thank you, Chair. I'm in favor of the motion.
Thank you. Director Jack?
I was in favor.
Okay. Okay, thank you. 5 opposed,
Sorry, 6 in favor.
6 in favor, so the motion carries. The motion carries. Okay,
There's more in favor. We only have 5 opposed. We have 14 here. Nobody is missing.
so we're about an hour shorter than anticipated.
There's another item. There's another item.
I will move that the addendum be considered.
I think there was one new business, wasn't it?
Oh, that was the new business.
That was the new business.
Now we're on to addendum, correct?
Second.
Director Rice.
Yeah.
So I received an email for,
Motion received.
Motion to receive.
I'm asking that the addendum be considered.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried.
I'd like to move that the report from myself be received.
Second?
Discussion.
Yes, thank you, Chair. This, I received this email last week, and it was a little bit outside of getting it onto the agenda properly, but essentially what the email is asking is that the SRD match the same grant that was awarded last year for the Canada Day celebrations, and that that be made payable to Carol Chapman.
I agree. We had a first, we have a second. Director Wally?
Yeah, I'm just curious how much that was.
I believe it was 15,000. I believe. Can Mike? Oh, he's
So,
gone.
Mr. Chair, if I might, to
Is it-
staff,
was it-
who paid it last time?
Regional.
Regional.
What, was there a number in there, or did it just say last
You
year?
know,
I believe
there wasn't a number,
it
and
was
that's why I'm
15,000.
saying to match last year. And I
Okay.
thought last year was a little higher than 15, but I could be wrong. But essentially, they're asking us to match what what was contributed last year.
It's just a little bit important to know how much we're spending before we vote on it. I mean, that's kind
Yeah.
of basic.
Mike disappeared on us. Pardon me?
We're still on a motion to receive.
Yes.
On the question.
Okay, call the question on receipt. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion's carried. Now you can make your subsequent.
Well, I move that a grant in the amount of $20,000 for the Canada Day celebrations and make that payable to Carol Chapman. Second.
Discussion? Director Colburn?
I'm curious, because we just had that conversation at the committee whole and then get again here about where we were on that kind of making whole of requests that we've already had, and if this falls into that budget, or if we'll need to adjust the budget of regional grants and aid to make that happen.
Yeah, thank you. It does, and the number was confirmed 15 last year. Yeah. So if you want to amend the motion to 15.
I'm happy to amend the motion to be 15,000.
I agree.
And yes, it's in the budget.
Director Von Ash.
No, I was just going to go to 15 as well, so.
Okay, thank you. So all in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Now, can I find anything to stretch us on any longer?
Move termination.
We've had enough.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Thank you very much, everybody.
Good job on moving us along, Mark.
Nice to see you, Michael.
I appreciate it.